The Prince of Wands is an ambitious card showing a character of leadership charging forward into the fires of life and of experience. On the Rider-Waite deck we can see a King of Wands sitting upon his throne, with symbols behind him of which show the strong Leo symbology upon this card, as well as two symbols here of which suggest infinity, those being the Ouroboros and the Salamander, which could represent the endless rebirth of experience. Whether this is planets and universes themselves, collapsing cosmoses endlessly reborn, or incarnations of our own bodies as we desire to experience the tastes, sounds and pleasures of this life. And indeed, our Prince upon the card is charging forward into that fire of passion and of life itself. On the Tree of Life, he is centred in Tifereth, of which means beauty, and with regards to him, could represent the beauty of this experience. More metaphysically, Tifereth here is also suggestive of a harmony or a balance, because we have already experienced both sides of the pillars upon the Tree of Life, and so we have seen severity, and we have also seen mercy. We've experienced, perhaps to a base level, and yet still we understand some of how the world behaves, and so we say, I understand it, and so I'm going to go out and conquer it, which doesn't necessarily mean in any type of warlike status, but can simply mean to take hold of your desires and to see them true, to taste that fruit of the tree, so to speak. And that's what the Prince is actually doing here. You can see that his eyes are open, and a lot of the Minor Arcana cards here on the Wands suit have their eyes closed, they're in a period of meditation, and yet here his eyes are open, he is viewing the physical world around him, and so he's centred in the realm of form and of physical, touchable reality around us. He wears a crown or a helmet upon his head, of where we can see the first of two symbols showing the strong suggestion and influence of Leo upon this card. So we can see a lion with many different wings here coming out of it, and yet this isn't actually the main symbol here upon the helmet. That is the 11 rays of which are emanating behind him. Most of these cards show 12 points or rays representing the 12 signs of the zodiac, and so all of the experiences of the universe, and yet here we have 11 instead, and so this is a very esoteric number 11, and you can actually see it in almost all mysticism and occultism and so on if you look into it. For instance, there are 11 words in the law of Thelema: do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. We may also see 11 letters in the word abrahadabra, and indeed, abracadabra is often the first magic word that children learn, and they say abracadabra when they're doing little spells and magic trips, unaware that perhaps they are actually uttering great mystical secrets and innocent expressions of sacred law. We can also see 11 being the number of letters in Ra Hua Kuit, of which is the child of the sky goddess Nuit and the earth god Hajit. And so we see here a type of wondrous duality, of which we will return to, of course, because we have the sky goddess Nuit, a firmament, a protective mother over the earth, coming and literally touching her hands, meeting with the earth god Hajit upon the plane of the earth, and their child is born inside this earth, of which provides obviously oxygen and food and everything of which they would need to exist, to incarnate and to experience. If we even take this further, we could say that the character upon the card is performing the great work of a hermeticism, of which is the joining of the microcosm and the macrocosm. And so if we have a look at the pentagram and of the hexagram brought together to create the rose and the cross, we can yet again see, of course, 5 and 6 bringing us to 11. That this character is a Thelemite in himself, he is doing his will, can be shown here with this pendant or seal of which he is wearing, and is positioned around the space of the heart upon his chest. And this shows the Star of Babylon together with the mark of the beast. This is in itself a very popular sigil within Thelema, and if we look at them separately, we can see this is actually quite a simple symbol. And so upon the Star of Babylon, we can see in its centre here the shape of the Vesica Pisces, a shape of which shows up, of course, all over the universe and all over esoteric symbolism. And so this is the symbol of the yoni. If we then have a look at the mark of the beast, this shows a singularity in its centre and an expanding universe, and yet as a whole it is clearly a phallic image. Indeed, it is a phallic image pointing directly at the viewer, and this is the symbol of the linga. And so if we put them together, we have the yoni and the linga, or the womb and the phallus. And so what he is wearing around his chest here is a deeply creative symbol, showing the union of which we discussed previously with Nuit and Hajit, and also the union of which brought us all into this incarnation, of which we're in the process of living out right now, of course, as we watch this very video. It also shows that this is a very masculine image, the phallus symbol coming out towards the viewer, so to speak, and the image on the card showing to be striding again towards the viewer if we were actually holding the card. And so it's a masculine symbol of putting out a seed of life, and that race to be the seed of life which succeeds and actually creates and kickstarts that birthing and conception process. And so he's also completely naked, apart from his crown with those 11 magical rays of light upon it. And this shows that he's free, like we saw with the previous card. And also his arms are outwards. He looks quite welcoming. He's not necessarily interested in modesty of any description. And he's very, very active. And so he's naked because he's not restricted by any type of garment or any type of armour of which may slow him down or make his movements more rigid or something like that. And so he's completely and totally free to go out there, and he's in a position of leadership. He's in a position of intense creative power and intense exploration of the world. Now, if we were to look at him from the side, we can see something quite interesting, because it would look like he was sitting in Aleister Crowley's very own personal asana, or yoga pose. And so an asana means seat, and it's how we position our bodies during meditation. And it's said to be very uncomfortable at first, until gradually it becomes extremely comfortable, until the point when you can sit into your asana and completely forget your physical body and its aches and pains and things, and just go off into the space of the mind. And so that he would be sitting in an asana shows that he is concerned with the great work that we spoke of before. So he has that physical body here in the world of which we exist in now, and he's still connected with the powers of the mind, those 11 rays. And in fact, I'm going to return to those 11 rays in a moment, because he also holds in his hand here the Phoenix wand. Now, we've seen this before, and it's a ritual wand of the Golden Dawn. And this wand can be seen used in a ceremony known as the 5x6 ceremony, which of course is 11 once again. And so that really connects back to that symbol. What is the 5x6 ceremony? Well, it's all about bringing into manifestation the powers of life via a vital heat, a fire. It's a type of fire ritual. And of course, we have the Phoenix wand, the phoenix said to have created itself from the fire, and is thus infinitely reborn through it. And it was known in ancient Egypt as Bennu, which was a symbol of the resurrection of all of the universe, because our spiritual essence sprang forth from the physical dead world and desired to incarnate again and to carry on with the experience of life. And so that's what we see here with the Phoenix wand. It also shows the power of the character. He's in a position of leadership. He's able to go out and perform this ritual and make it work, and so he's at quite a high level in his development there as well. Over on his left hand, we can see that he is holding the reins, of which are connected to this large lion. The left hand concerned with the physical world, and so this shows he is in complete control of where he goes in the physical world. He has free reign over where this lion takes him. We've seen a symbol like this before on the Major Arcana with the Lust card, And there's the suggestion that one would have to be very confident in where they're going to behave like this, and they would also have to have a great passion to actually get to wherever it is that they want to go. And so it's showing he has this lust for life. He has this desire to go to all of the corners of the earth and to taste of their many wonders, and he has complete freedom over which corner of the earth to go to first and how long he stays there and everything else. And so the actual reins are of course connected to a lion, of which is pulling him along on a chariot, and it looks like he's going really very, very quickly here, which obviously is that power. You can imagine the roaring of this chariot as it emblazons itself through the roads. And of course the lion is Leo. We have that strong influence of Leo coming through this card. And so if we look at the qualities of Leo, we've got that strong driving force coming through this character. And so we are looking at an energy of deep enthusiasm, of dynamic and confident exploration. He's very ambitious, and he's very powerful and charismatic. And if we look at it on the other side, though, of course, our character here could also be a bit sort of arrogant. You know, he's charging on, perhaps he's not really caring about, you know, what's happening behind him or even in front of him. And so he could be a little bit arrogant with that exploration and that power that he's got as well, but hopefully we can stay on more of the positive side of it, as shown in this Thoth card. Indeed, there is a particularly strange symbol on this card, of which is this patch of green underneath the chariot. It almost looks like it's not supposed to be there. It's completely out of colour coordination with the rest of the card, so much so that it looks like it was unfinished. Well, it's an odd symbol, and yet it is, as far as I'm concerned, the green earth, which is to say the fertilised earth, returning us again to the seal upon his chest. Wherever his chariot goes to, it's furrowing the earth with its wheels, and his seed, of which is springing forth, which doesn't necessarily have to be thought of in a sexual manner. It can literally be the creative seed of the intuition and of the heart. And so he furrows the earth, impregnates it with this creative seed, and what's going to happen? Grass is going to grow, and the fertile green earth is going to show, and so he's laying the groundwork for the green earth to show behind him. And so it's a really quite interesting and easily missed symbol. And so when you draw the Prince of Wands here in your Thoth Tarot reading, it's asking us to take upon the qualities of this character, and it can say that perhaps we've reached a point in our life where we may have to use this enthusiasm, we may have to find a drive to move us forward and to explore new things and better things that may lead us down new paths. We need to get hold of his leadership and his qualities of enjoyment of life, that lust for life, engage ourselves in them and put them towards achieving our own personal goals.